So this week we continue with the love revolution. And after all, who wouldn't want that? This is such an exciting time to be on the planet, as the old outdated energies are playing out their final hurrah in order to create space for the new. What I love about this time is the outpouring of truth that is now available to us, which totally demonstrates the manipulation and control of the past for what it is. For those steeped in the Bible and religious doctrine, much of this is likely to be very triggering, but as Yeshua himself has said, the truth often divides before it unites. We welcome anyone and everyone to check this all out for themselves with an open mind and heart, to feel how this resonates with you. It is time to step away from the teachings of the false matrix and step into our power, both as individuated expressions of divine consciousness and as a high-frequency collective, creating our future. The heart-based frequencies of this shift of the ages that we are experiencing require the loving guidance of the divine feminine, and that is where Mary Magdalene steps into the frame, not as depicted by the Bible, but as the equal partner to Yeshua ben Joseph himself. The divine masculine and divine feminine in total harmony represents the way forward into unity consciousness, and we have an incredible story to share with you. Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolé Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to today's show, where we dig deeper into Joshua and the Essenes.
Yes, and Mary Magdalene, and basically this is all about the love revolution. Honestly, it's so inspiring when you get into this stuff because I've got to say, personally, I've never been a religious person. You grow up and you learn about the biblical version of Jesus and a bit about religion as a child, but beyond that, as a left brainer, I was always working with the logical and never really particularly steeped in this kind of stuff at all, which makes it really fascinating to me because you suddenly start to realize, there was a very distorted vision that we've been fed for such a long time. But at the same time, once you start to dig under the surface of this, and again, it's up to everybody to decide for themselves what works for them, because there are people who are very religiously based, who are very much based in the teachings of the Bible. Everybody has their own version of life, right? Because we're all individuated expressions of divine consciousness. So we're all supposed to be different. So, maybe it'll trigger some people. Maybe some people will accept it. But again, as Jesus himself did say, I think we just 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did the show, says the truth often divides before it unites. So, that's one of those things. You just plant the seeds out there of the exploration that we're doing. And I find it really interesting. And one of the things we're going to start with today is the Jesus My Autobiography, which was written, channeled, should I say, because it was just put down verbatim by Tina Louise Spalding. And again, gratitude to Silky, who has been watching our shows and actually put on the comments about this particular book, which led me to explore it. And I got the audio version of it. Fascinating, really fascinating. So we're going to dive into a little bit of that. But Yeshua also said during that book that the reason that he had chosen to come through the feminine energy to give his message is because the balance has been so out of kilter with the masculine energy over thousands of years that it has to be heard through the feminine voice, through the female energy, because that helps people to realize that this is why it's so important. And this is also why this show then links into Mary Magdalene, because the truth behind Mary Magdalene, according to these sources, the biblical version was used in a way to denigrate her character, to say that she was a prostitute, and that was a long way from the truth. And again, within the book itself, Jesus, as he's named in this one as opposed to Yeshua, I suppose, explains basically everything, like from a family life perspective, how they got to know each other as young adults, and how that relationship expanded over the decades that followed. And it's fascinating, it really is. But now is the time when this divine feminine energy has to come to the forefront, because you cannot achieve anything unless you have a balance between masculine and feminine energy. We realize that. Okay. So the fact is that because of the masculine domination that's taken place over thousands of years, things have got more and more out of balance. Now we're coming back into balance. To do that, we need to get deeper into that goddess energy. And that is where we're going to be heading today. So, yeah, Tina Louise Spalding, her work with Jeshua, and again, I suppose it's the same as Pamela Cribb. We've featured her work before in previous weeks as well. Another, again, lady that he has channeled through for the same reason. These are pure channels, and you often find that these, and again, I think this is true actually with Tina, that it turns out that she was around at the time of Yeshua and his ministries as well. So it's not her first rodeo with Jesus, because that has been part of her life. And I don't doubt the same is true for Pamela Cribb and many others who kind of have access to this information through Yeshua as well. So it's really fascinating. Anyway, before I hit the button, Jolé, what would you care to add?
Yes, I'm so excited about stepping into the energy of the goddess, the nurturing energy that comes from a place of strength. We've been, as we're transitioning into the goddess, we have a tendency to want to judge the masculine energy, right? The patriarchy and what it's looking like right now.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry I laughed.
It's all right. It's better to laugh than to cry.
Because I mean, you guys are being trashed, but moving into the goddess nurturing energy, it's beautiful to know that we all have both masculine and feminine energy. And once we start to work with the compassion, the forgiveness, the unconditional love, and the curiosity, we get a little closer to integrating the two. So this is exciting.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I take none of this personally because
Yeah,
I'm delighted
you
to
can't.
to welcome in divine feminine energy, goddess energy, because we so need it, and we know we
Yeah.
need it, and that's basically what takes humanity forward. So bring it on. That's what I say.
Yes.
And one thing I almost forgot to mention, but I did want to say about Elevated Planet is a donation-based channel now. We have in the details below a link to PayPal that anybody who wishes to donate, and all we're asking for really is like a £2 donation if you're UK based, or €2 or $3, something like that, a buy us a coffee kind of idea. Because in order to keep
Absolutely.
Elevated Planet going, we have to really try to balance out some of the costs that we're incurring, which are, let's say, several £100 slash dollars every month, and any help put towards that is gratefully received. So, any
Absolutely.
small amounts that you can spare, very gratefully received.
And I just want to say one more thing as well. And we put so much emphasis, on the masculine and the feminine. But let's remember our inner child, especially as we move into this um, show, and let our imagination and what resonates and get in our bodies and feel the energy of what the Messiah was talking about. And so that it's not so much outside of us, it's something that can be relatable and can be absorbed or can be stepped into. So this is a lot of fun. So like I said, put on your joy and allow for all parts of you to be a part of this, especially your body.
Yeah, it is that playfulness aspect that keeps us
Yes.
open to whatever is coming through, and people can be discerning about it as they take in the words and the energy. Okay, so right, we are going to switch over to this screen for the first section will be the Jesus, a section from Jesus, My Autobiography. And then we'll come to a channeling of an angel called Alariel. And I'll give you a little bit more information on Alariel once we get through this first short section. So bear with me a second. Here we go.
Chapter 1: How it all began. We wish to start at the beginning. We wish to start with my birth. My mother was informed in a dream that she would have me. She had a discussion in a very vivid and lively dream that told her that she would become pregnant, that she would have a child who would bring light to the world, and that the spirit of this child would come into this unborn baby and would live its life out as her son. She was told in this dream that she would be responsible for providing the foundational environment in which this being would live. She was told to teach it the Jewish ways, but she was also told to be very gentle and kind with this baby. She was told to love it unconditionally, to love it with all her heart, for it would need her love and it would have a challenging life at times because of its personality and its nature. This being who came to her in a dream is what you call an archangel, a being from a higher realm who has responsibilities to earth, who has chosen this, who is born into this job, so to speak. Archangels have assignments they are in charge of, and beings they are in charge of. This archangel was in charge of my life, my transformation, and my education. I have spent much time with this being since passing over so many years ago. Back in that day, this being was able to communicate with my mother in a dream. My mother told my father about the dream, and he pooh-poohed it a little bit, for he was in the male world of reason, judgment, and action. My mother was an intuitive and kind woman who was open to these other realms, as most women are. This is why you see more women in spiritual transformation groups than you do in other meetings, for women are more open to the non-physical. They are more receptive in nature. They are more fluid in nature. This is an important fact to bring to mind at this point, that my mother, not my father, was the one with whom communications could be made more easily.
How can we best encourage change on this planet? Do you think we should fight or oppose old organizations which are resisting change?
Be aware that whenever you fight something, you are focusing on it and giving it energy. If you wish to remove something from manifestation, it is better to focus on its opposite. Give that good quality or organization energy and watch it flourish and grow, knowing that the old will wither away in its own time.
The concept of soul aspects is still a difficult one for many people. Could you give your perception of this, please?
During the early stages of human evolution, it was sufficient for the soul to put down one part of itself, one incarnated presence, upon the earth at a time. Then, as the civilizations on the earth developed and became more complex, offering a wider range of spiritual experience, many souls wished to access several of these possibilities at the same time. The solution was for the soul to put down several personalities or aspects, often as many as 12 at one time. The memories of all 12 personalities feed back into the soul, and in subsequent lives, all later aspects of that soul would remember these lives.
What element of human consciousness that we have lost is it important for us to bring back now?
Undoubtedly, it is the goddess element. The sacred feminine is the source of the highest and most subtle wisdom and the most profound knowing. Shamanic cultures have always recognized the primacy of feminine wisdom, and it is time that this primacy, symbolized by Mary Magdalene, is more widely acknowledged in the world. It is only by acknowledging the primacy of feminine wisdom that conflicts will be resolved and the deep wounds that humanity has inflicted upon itself over the centuries will finally begin to heal.
What do you think is the greatest human failing?
To go into instant judgment about many people and many things. This is particularly marked when you are thinking about the outcome of any of your actions. In many human situations, you are in a position that we would describe as IDAO, insufficient data to assess the outcome. Yet you continually try to judge what the result of your actions might be, and worse still, punish yourselves when the outcome is not as you have predicted. There are so many variables on a planet where free will dominates that frankly, it is foolish to predict a single outcome in any situation. Predict a whole range of possible outcomes if you must, but even then, something may happen that you had not foreseen, and therefore, could not predict. As timelines moving into the future are so subtle and so subject to change, it would be a much wiser course for you to predict nothing, but simply observe what happens as time moves on.
And what do you think is the greatest strength of human beings?
Their ability to respond with love in their hearts to others, human beings, animals, or plants, when these are in difficulty or pain. It is the unique human heart quality that will carry you through, for it has the ability to sweep away all the dross of selfishness and greed. When human beings feel and act with their hearts, they are capable of making remarkable breakthroughs.
And we are back. So fascinating stuff. Now, just to start with the Jesus, My Autobiography book, as a couple of things that are very clear is that Jesus had several brothers and sisters, and a lot of nephews and nieces, and the story is very, very different from the biblical version. And one of the things I really also wanted to give you the heads up on was the Alariel, because Alariel is referred to several times during this show. And as you'll have seen, he is part of a group of 12 angels. And the interesting thing about this group of 12 angels, not that that in itself isn't interesting enough, but this group are actually effectively assigned to support the Melchizedek consciousness wherever it goes across any planetary system. So the mere fact that we do have Melchizedeks here on Earth right now, Melchizedeks are renowned for their ability to help civilizations beyond the point where the consciousness has evolved to, so that they come along to help to do jobs that in this case humanity would not be able to achieve for itself. And the Essenes were a big part of that Melchizedek consciousness side of things. They were supported by the Melchizedeks because they had to be the wisdom bearers all the time, going back to, Atlantis, bringing forward. And this is where the link to Alariel came from, because Stuart Wilson, who is one of the co-authors of this book along with Joanna Prentice, he was put into a past life regression where he relived his life as an architect in Atlantis, interestingly. But he was very, from a very spiritual perspective, again, almost that like Essene kind of energy. And during that time in Atlantis, he had access to an angel that was Alariel. Okay, so basically, again, that Melchizedek, Essene kind of consciousness thing, all aligned. So Alariel was effectively linked to Stuart Wilson through this past life as an architect in Atlantis. And the way they got to Alariel was basically by asking this architect, asking him a question which they knew was so difficult for him to answer that he would refer to Alariel. And at that point, he put them in touch. And since then, they've been able to tap into Alariel's wisdom because, obviously it goes back probably millions of years, but he's able to give very precise answers to very precise questions. But he does say the questions, he can only answer the questions that are given. Okay, so the questions have to be good ones. And it's a really interesting book, this, the Power of the Magdalene, because as they explore these things, Alariel is able to give them a lot of information that makes an awful lot of sense. Now, another interesting thing, of course, about the Melchizedeks is that one of the living Melchizedek's out there right now is Drumvalo Melchizedek, who's kind of around his mid-80s at the moment now, but he is an existing teacher right now. And if you look at what he's achieved during his lifetime today, as well as I'm still waiting to get his latest Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life book. It's not arrived in the UK yet, but I'm really looking forward to that because I know just how amazing the teachings are from Drumvalo and Viola Rose as well, who we've featured on the show several times before as well. But that Melchizedek consciousness enabled him to be able to help to repair and activate the unity consciousness grid. Not just that, but previous to that as well, I think it was previous, but either way, around that same time, moving the Earth's Kundalini energy from the Himalayas to the Andes. And these were all achieved working in line with indigenous populations who knew to expect him. They knew he would be turning up. So they'd seen it in their prophecies that he would turn up as this Melchizedek energy. And he's just a regular guy, right? I mean, when you see him on the videos and everything, he's very humble. But he's clearly very wise and very guided. Now, since the 1980s, because he was a walk-in in the 1970s, Drumvalo came in as a soul exchange in, I think, 72 or 71. And in the early 1980s, two angels presented themselves to him to guide him from that point. Because when you come in as a walk-in, you're not immediately aware that you're a walk-in. You're just a human being just living their life. From the 1980s, he had these two angels that supported him throughout his life from then till modern day, till now. And it makes me think that since there are 12 angels supporting the Melchizedek role, including Alariel, that those two angels that Drumvalo got are actually part of that collective of 12 as well. Just a thought. I don't know whether that's absolutely right, but I just suspect it is. I'll let you make your own mind up on that. But Jolé, what would you care to add?
Wow, it's beautiful what is beginning to come to light about the ancient texts and the ancient religious knowledge that we've been given that's been cherry picked. Why
Yes.
has it been cherry picked and given to us in such a way when there's so many gaps within it? Because it was removing the goddess. So to actually be able to bring her back in is amazing. But while you were talking, John, it's so interesting because I was thinking about what a struggle it has been for women moving through the energy. And it's like you see these older women, they're in their crone phase and they've developed all of this knowledge and experience through living, right? So now they're wise women. But back in the day, we had the ability to instill this knowledge and wisdom in our girls and our children, which then empowered our communities. And then the struggle didn't have to happen so much. So the beauty of it is now that we're returning back to the goddess, we get to return to these principles because you see these beautiful indigo children, prismatic children, I mean, amazing. But what happens to them when they're put in the schools? They're squashed, oppressed. They're the first ones, that we're saying, no, don't do that. Sit down. So it's like we have to rethink some of the ways in which we are showing up around the feminine and with the feminine. What is it that we want to move into? We got to critically think about these concepts now because the truth is being revealed. So it's really wonderful. I know for me to be able to finally put the pieces of the puzzle together, because what does it do? It empowers me. It gives me confidence in who I am. And if there's one thing that has been taken away from the goddess, it was her self-esteem.
Mm.
So it's beautiful that we're able to put this back in now and bring it full circle.
Oh, for sure. And we've got so much more to uncover in this next section as well, which really gives us much more scope around this subject as well.
Right.
So I find it really fascinating. The other thing just to mention is that the power of the Magdalene, the book itself, also goes into the disciples side of things and the absolute split of that, the 144 number, right, Jolé, which we
Right.
talked,
Right. Yes.
the harmonic 144 light pattern, which is really important in so many things. It's kind of all comes back to everything we know of life exists around that 144 harmonic light pattern. The disciples were no different. 72 female disciples, 72 male disciples. And it's interesting because the book is able to actually give names to who were the female disciples as well, and to show how it actually works. So, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Yeah. It
Mm.
really is remarkable. And oftentimes these, I guess you call it numerology or esoteric numbers, they also correspond to the body, to the physical world. These things, they go across um genres. I don't know what you want to call it, levels, so like 369, these things are
Mm.
coming back into our not because they're magical. And it's not magical in the sense of being dark. It's magical in the sense of liberation and sovereignty. And a lot of times we've seen that as being devilish, but actually freeing yourself and grabbing onto your free will. There is nothing dark about that. It's really liberating. So I find that these concepts and these things we're starting to unpack really help us to heal, to grow, and expand.
Yeah. And again, just to your point there, it's like the number 13 being considered an unlucky number, whereas it's
Right.
absolutely a super powerful number. It's a superpower number of spiritual.
Yeah.
Can't remember the exact thing, but anyway, it's a very feminine number. It's a very powerful number, and that's the reason why it's being considered unlucky by the church, planted there to kind
Hmm.
of deflect people away from something that helps them to get into their power. So,
Exactly. So let's just keep that in mind. And oh, that's what I wanted to say about the labeling and the judging. That right there is I'm not labeling and judging when I'm laughing at the male energy. I'm laughing because I'm laughing with it. I have it too. I have, we all have these issues dealing with our programming. So I just want to say that that judgment there, let's move with love. It always happens. We're going to judge, we're going to have that energy, but at the same time and in the same moment, we can work with love, because you can crack jokes, but do them in a way that that person feels embraced,
yeah,
not like, repelled or
yeah,
humiliated. So that's another thing that the female energy can bring in, is loving comedy and loving, poking. Like, you British are good at that, taking the piss out of people without it taking it seriously. So I want to put that on the table as well, because there is a lot of that going on. The polarity is there. So let's recognize that we're all in this together.
yeah.
Labeling and judging, it just slows things down.
Yeah, because I also that just made me think of the conversations with God, where Neil Donald Walsh is quite shocked that God should have such a sense of humor. He said, "Well, who do you think created humor?"
Exactly. You know? So
So, okay.
let's be in joy. All right, we
Yes,
ready?
we're ready. We're going to go to the next section. So bear with me, everybody. We are going to leap across and we are going to be introduced to James, who is a young 13-year-old Essene who is going to take us on a journey, which is very enlightening.
What is your name? I am called James. Now that James has identified himself, we will use that name. Joanna, what is this place called?
It's called Getty, Ain Getty. I live near it.
Comment by Stuart.
Ain Getty was one of the southern group of Essene communities, which was identified in Chapter 6 of the Essenes, Children of the Light.
The session continues. Joanna, what happens at Ain Getty?
I don't know much about what happens there. I visit sometimes. I know Jeshua goes there sometimes. I listen to my guide so I can go when he visits. I have been guided to go there since I was very young.
How do your parents feel about you coming to this place?
They know it's something special. If they can't find me, they know I've gone there. My parents are kind. They give me much freedom and allow me to use my gifts.
Could you tell me about your gifts?
I see lights around people, and I know who is safe and who is not, who is dangerous.
Comment by Stuart.
I think James is referring here to the aura, the energy field around the head and body of every human being. Anyone who can see auras and is skilled in reading them can tell a good deal about the consciousness of a person by the arrangement and movement of colors within the auric field.
The session continues. Joanna, who are the dangerous people? Are the Romans the problem, the danger?
No, it's the leaders of our people, the priests.
There was a pause here while Kathy breathed deeply.
I have been to Ain Getty again, but this time it is different. I must go to my parents and tell them we must go to Egypt, where we'll find Mary Salome. I know there's something very wrong now. I don't understand, but it's not right for us to be here anymore.
Are you still 13?
I'm still 13, but we must leave. The energy has changed, completely changed. It felt good before, but everything's different now. There's a big shift in energy, as if something is breaking and moving apart, moving on. I have to go back to my parents. They sense the energy has changed and ask me what's the matter, and I tell them I've seen Jeshua, but not as I would expect to see him. The energy's different. Something has happened to him. I don't know what it is. When he came to the group, his feet had big holes in them, and it scared me.
Nobody told you what happened to him?
No, but I know something has changed about him. Jeshua said we all have to go and go quickly. The followers of Jeshua are in danger. The priests will root out anyone connected with Jeshua. The followers will be in great danger and we must leave. My parents say, can we delay a little and tell our friends? But I say we must get the pack animal, the mule, and leave right away. Make our way to Egypt and we will be guided.
Comment by Stuart.
James sounded quite anxious and confused at this point. It is not clear whether he was seeing Jeshua himself or an image of Jeshua when he was bilocating. Later in the book, we had confirmation that Jeshua was able to bilocate and appear in two places at the same time. If this event which James is describing happened after the crucifixion, then he was probably seeing a bilocated image.
The session continues. Joanna, how long do you stay in Essene?
We must wait while my parents recover from the journey, and we need to find out what is happening with the group around Jeshua.
When you were younger, were you able to spend some time with Jeshua?
Yes, he knew my parents and would sometimes come to the house and talk, tell parables, and would talk, and then play with the children afterwards. You could see his energy affecting all the people.
As a small child, did you feel you got more from the energy than the words?
Of course. I didn't understand some of his words. I was too young, but I watched the light. As the people there understood what he was saying, it increased the light all around them. When they absorbed information from Jeshua, it was like a great explosion of light in all directions, and he would also send geometric patterns to people who didn't have the light. I watched the light and saw the angels around him. There was a special kind of laughter at these meetings, a laughter in the heart. I liked to be with him, and I was so proud to be there. Jeshua would come on his journeys for a rest, but he would never get that rest because people wanted to talk to him. Word would get around that he was there and that people would come to see him and listen. He had a very soft voice and you had to be quiet to hear him. It made you calm to hear him. He would have this soft voice when meeting with people and healing their hearts. His hair was sort of wild. Other people made their hair beautiful, combed and held in place, but Jeshua never did anything to his hair. It was almost a mane. It was clean, but it was unbrushed, a kind of brown with copper lights in it, and his eyes were blue and very intense.
So you're still in Alexandria, Essene?
Yes, we've found out that Mary Salome has been here, but has already left. The people we're staying with tell us that Herod was forced to do something to Jeshua. It's too horrible. I don't know exactly what happened, but the priests were behind it.
Yes, Jeshua had some sharp words with them.
He told them to change their ways. He told them to change, but they wouldn't. Jeshua told us that different times were coming. The priests were afraid they would lose their position and their importance if things changed. Jeshua said the law was symbolic, pointing the way to understanding, but they couldn't grasp that.
The priests had fixed beliefs. They were into the head, and it was hard for them to feel in the heart.
That's why the women understood. They intuitively understood that Jeshua was a leader and teacher of change. They understood the energy behind his teachings, if not all his words. The Essenes we're staying with know more than we do about what has been happening. We're made to feel very welcome, but my father is concerned that he has little to give them in exchange for all their hospitality, and he doesn't want us to outstay our welcome.
James talked about a gathering of people who were traveling through Gaul, with a number of tents pitched on a high and open place. It was cold, and they huddled around a number of fires on the site. It was a chance for them to share their memories, talk about old friends, and support each other.
We knew we have to keep the memories alive, and that's what we're doing.
So the teachings that you had from Jeshua, they were mainly energetic, but there were also teachings with words.
It wasn't for me so much teachings as showing you a way to be, how to live as a spirit within a body. how to act and react with the people around you. A very simple message, to live in the heart and not harm others. Oh,
There was a pause, a shift in the energy, and a sudden intake of breath.
the lady called Mary is coming to our group.
Is this Mary Salome?
No, it's not. It's Mary Magdalene. She's so beautiful. She has dark eyes. She is our link with the Kalu, and she brings messages from them. It's she who is informing our scattered people of the jobs we must do. She is telling us that it's through the female line that the emotional aspects of the memories will be held. The men are the doers, and they must find information through external records, and both are needed. The men will be helped by physical records, linked through crystals and places, portals where they'll be able to access the universal records of events, real history.
Comment by Stuart.
The Kalu were the scattered remnants of an ancient Atlantean people who founded the Essene communities under the direction of the Order of Melchizedek. We discovered a good deal of information on the Kalu whilst researching the Essenes, Children of the Light, and they also appear in Jesus and the Essenes by Dolores Cannon. The Order of Melchizedek is a service order of advanced teachers working on many planetary systems throughout the galaxy.
The session continues. Is this the first time you've met Mary Magdalene?
Yes,
And from your body reaction, the meeting obviously made a very big impression on you. Was it her energy field that particularly impressed you?
yes, it's huge. It's purple and blue.
Here Kathy was so overcome that she could hardly get the last word out.
She links with many other beings on the earth and off the earth. It's all tied in with light, so you feel as if she's bringing a vortex of the whole universe's memory into your place.
Is she able to create vortexes if she settles in a place for a while?
I don't think she needs to. She is the vortex.
The other scenes around you, are they aware that she is the one who carries the greatest energetic nearest to that of Jeshua?
It's different because when she's there, you're not aware of what the others are experiencing at the time. It's as if you are not in a place on Earth at all. The fire in front of us disappears, and she is bringing the whole universe in blues and purples and yellows, and that's all you're aware of. That and this majestic energy.
Again, difficult for Kathy to talk at this point. I know when I link up with someone with a major aura, you're not aware of what they say. It's the energy, and you go into a state where anything is possible.
She will be a major force in making people remember what they learned then. Jeshua's job was to open the heart center. Once that's open, Mary Magdalene's job is to provide the information that's needed at the right time. She does this by showing how everyone is linked and how information can be gained when you ask for it. She doesn't talk to us in words, but everyone receives the information they need. I wish I could have had her as my teacher. Then I wouldn't have needed to ask so many questions. With her, you feel as if you know the answer before you ask the question.
So in many ways, she's opening up the innate spiritual knowledge that you brought into this life.
Yes,
And for many, it's just a case of re-remembering.
reconnecting, yes. She travels through different dimensions in time and space. You need special training to do this. Such a special being. Mary is due to go on with her journey. She will be with us from time to time. She's working with John. When she's finished, it's night and the stars are out, and we hadn't realized so much time had passed. There's much excitement throughout the group as they discover they are serving a purpose, being of use.
So night has fallen, and you're looking at the stars.
I find it hard to sleep on this special night. There were so many things that I had wanted to ask Mary Magdalene. I wanted to ask her what the deep maroon color in her aura signifies, and I wanted to get around the other groups and see what they were doing. It's as if we were all laying down the pattern of what was to come for the future. Real big special foundations. But I must get some sleep because at dawn, we must all split up and go our separate ways.
In a later session, we asked Alariel to comment on this meeting with Mary Magdalene, and this is what he said.
This is a good example of the kind of impact made by Mary Magdalene. Mary was an impressive speaker, but it was the energy she carried. the quality and sheer power and vastness of that energy, which really impressed those who met her for the first time. Here was a master soul, an initiate who had reached the very highest levels of attainment within the Isis system of Egypt, a system that was widely respected throughout the Middle East as the mainstream mystery school tradition at the time. So to be in the presence of a high Isis initiate was something that many people would have seen as a great blessing.
Comment by Stuart.
Isis, the high priestess moon goddess, was one of the most important deities in the Egyptian pantheon. As the wife of Osiris and mother of Horus, she had a central position in that system and was regarded as the goddess of magic, alchemy, and supreme wisdom.
So there we have it. Now, I suppose it's one of those things to mention kind of at this stage that when you go into Jesus, My Autobiography, it's interesting to hear that uh, Jesus and Mary Magdalene knew each other from, being young adults, going all to the way through to when they were married and ultimately had two sons, is gets mentioned. He doesn't go into any details about who they were in terms of names or anything, because again, I think it comes back to this bloodline protection kind of thing. As we know, the Templar Knights were fierce guardians of the Christ bloodline. Therefore, they knew that it would be vulnerable if that was known. And I think that is still being defended now. But clearly, there is a Christ bloodline that is out there. And one of the things that really interested me as well is Mary Magdalene's link to Avalon, which is Glastonbury as we know it now. Okay, so going back in time, the Western world seats of learning were in Alexandria, for one, where the mystery schools were, the Isis Mystery School being one of those. An amazing place. That's where they had the library, which was ultimately burnt down, of course. But that was one of the three seats of learning for the Western world. The other one was in Greece, where you could go and sit at the feet of the philosophers and learn from the Socrates and the Platos of that generation, or those generations, to again steep yourself in deeper wisdom. But the third one was Avalon, which was the seat of the Druidic learning. Okay, Avalon being Glastonbury as we know it today. And the Druidic teachings were also regarded just as highly. They were more esoteric than the Egyptian and the Greek versions. But what was really interesting, there was the Priestesses of Avalon, which, the ladies of Avalon, as we will have heard of them in legend. And they were the priestesses that were carrying energy through from, interestingly, from the times of Lemuria. And so that was an energy. So they had certain rituals and ceremonies that they would do to enact and bring forward certain energies and power. And they'd been doing this for many hundreds and thousands of years. So they were, on the one hand, you've got the Druidic energy, which was more of a masculine energy. And then you'd got the ladies of Avalon, which were the feminine energy. But what was interesting, Mary Magdalene visited Avalon and spent time with the priestesses and was able to teach them more about the deeper meaning of the rituals and ceremonies that they used to undertake. So they learned from Mary Magdalene also. And, the Alariel goes into some detail on this actually within the book as well, talking about how impactful it was, not just for the ladies of Avalon, the priestesses, but also for the druids themselves, because what it helped to do was to balance out perfectly the masculine energy of the druidic teachings and the feminine teachings from the ladies of Avalon, the priestesses. All of a sudden you got absolute balance and harmony, which was kind of a golden era then because of Mary Magdalene's influence on Avalon. So she did travel there. She spent most of her life in Gaul. She spent a lot of time in the Languedoc area. And I'm really looking forward to it. Still haven't finished the book yet. I'm still steeped in it, loving it. And again, totally recommended for anybody who has an interest in that. You've seen the book and it's easy to get. So Mary Magdalene and Mary Anna, which was the name for the mother of Jesus, were both initiates, high-level initiates at the Isis Mystery School in Alexandria, from previous lives and previous generations. So they'd been training for this for an awful long time, even though when you come into the incarnation, you don't know that to be the case. it was always training, right? And I know that Jesus and Mary spent, from very relatively young years talking about all this, the spiritual kind of things, and making sense of it and building that knowledge together. So, as far as Jesus was concerned, Mary Magdalene was his equal partner in everything. And this actually ruffled the feathers of a lot of the male disciples. They didn't like it. You know what the masculine energy is like, and the ego didn't like the fact that Jesus would elevate the value of the feminine energy to the same level as the masculine. Again, that 144 harmonic light pattern balance, very important. But the male disciples struggled to accept it because they had grown up in a culture which again was very masculine culture, where the men were the leaders. And Peter, there's a big story behind Peter as well as the disciple who really struggled with this the most, and there were some big implications for that played out over hundreds of years that followed. So Mary Magdalene and Mary Anna were both master souls as initiates of the Isis Mystery School. And another thing I really, really find fascinating about this, we did a show which was it was Dolores Cannon, which was Sacred Secrets in the Fall of a Dark Agenda, which again goes back to one of Dolores's books, where they were talking about one of the people that she regressed went back to her time in the Isis Mystery Schools and her life there, learning and all the kind of stuff that went on at that particular time when Isis was there. And what we learn from that is that Isis is coming back to the planet. She is coming back by 2050. So let's say 2050 at the latest, might be earlier, but by 2050, the consciousness on this planet will once again be ready for Isis and the mystery schools to be reopened, for us to be able to have access to information that has been hidden for so long, hidden often because it was unsafe for it to be out in public. So much work was destroyed, not just the burning of the fire of Alexandria, but so much, of information that was tried to be shared was destroyed. So it had to be very carefully protected. And that was one of the roles of the Templar Knights as well, was to guide artifacts, scrolls, learnings, as well as bloodlines. So there you go. What else was I going to mention to you? Yeah. So I suppose one of the things I really liked was actually the description of what it was like to be in Yeshua's company as the 13-year-old boy, as James was, to actually be there and to see the fact that the auras that he had, but also the way he impacted people around him, and the fact he could send geometric codes to those who basically didn't have the colors so that they would get them. I just find that really fascinating and beautiful. And the bilocating side of things as well. I mean, I mentioned this last week, but the walking on water, Jesus in my autobiography talks about the fact that when he walked on water, that what the disciples were actually seeing was his astral body, because Jesus himself was in a cave meditating, and it was his astral body that was levitated just above the level of the water. So that bilocation thing obviously also enabled him to get more messages across more parts of the world and people, I suppose. Now, one other thing to say, while Mary Magdalene was in Gaul and sometimes in the UK with her teachings, Jesus himself went in a different direction. So after the crucifixion, once he'd come back, proving life is everlasting, it wasn't dying for the sins of the world. It was just proving that we are immortal and that we are godlike in ourselves, unrealized at this point. We are learning, we are growing, we're getting back into that wisdom. But meanwhile, he went back to India, where, much like Mary Magdalene worked with the Priestesses of Avalon, he worked with the gurus, because their path had strayed a little in terms of the way that things were developing within that guru network, and he was able to bring them back to center so that they got back to the original reason for the learnings. Fascinating stuff. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I want to bring Jolé back in for your thoughts.
Hi, John. All of it is such fascinating information, isn't it? And it ties in so much once you start like uncovering more and more. It's like this spiritual archaeological dig. It's so interesting. But one of the things I wanted to bring back around is the fact that I said that look for these, signals to be in your body and in the world, like these numbers, these sacred geometries and stuff. But 144 bones fuse when you're developing as a child, right? So you
Wow.
start out with 350 and you go down to 206 as you develop. So that 144 integrates with the rest to bring together your spine, your hips, and your skull. So it's interesting how these things move throughout the levels, and you know that you're on to something. Also, the inner child is even in the pyramid, is even in the Isis. We talked about Mariana and how she, knew these things. Well, of course they knew, because to integrate the masculine and the feminine, you need that playfulness, or that Osiris, right? That's her son. What is it? Isis, Osiris, and
And Horace.
Horus, right? And Horus. So all of that, like these concepts and these ideas, they come through the generations, they come through the religions. And another thing I wanted people to know too is when you look back into Alexandria and the goddess energy, Hypatia is someone to really look into. She was a mathematician, she was a Neoplatonist, she was an astronomer, and she was a pioneering female scholar who taught philosophy and mathematics. She was quite amazing, but what happened was she was murdered by a Christian mob. Why is that? Because at that time, we were removing the goddess. We were
Mhm.
starting that. So the fact that we're bringing it back in is such a beautiful thing. So, what does that mean in the bigger picture? That means that you're going to feel things. You're going to see a
Right.
lot of people be out of control with their feelings. That's why we're moving more into love, right? Because when you feel those feelings, you need that comfort, you need that support. You need to know that someone is there for you and that you are not alone,
Mhm.
period. And this is how we get people to stop hurting themselves and other people. So we just ask, how does this look? Hold the door open for somebody, smile and say hi. Sing a song, a bridge of a song while you're walking. Like, be a place and a space. I'm not asking you to be, a house for homeless like that, or be unhoused and put yourself in danger, let's say, because the unhoused need love too. But what I am trying to say is just think outside of yourself for a moment each day. That's how you bring in that goddess energy. Another thing that the goddess does for us is protection. And in clear sight, when I was going to clairvoyant school, one of the things we were able to do after we do our grounding and aura and all that, she would teach us, Reverend Judy Nelson, fantastic. She would teach us, call in Athena. If you're going into some place that you find dangerous, call in Athena, the goddess of war, and ask for her to protect you. Now I say that and I hear, oh my God, that's no, 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 no. We can't call in that. That's devilish. No, it's just an essence of the divine. So you're calling in this specific essence, right? And you're giving it a name. So that's all. So it's like you can kind of use, like we're dealing with Alariel, right?
Mhm.
This angel is not just for Drumvalo and Jeshua and James, and it's for you too. So utilize your meditations and your prayers to bring in this energy, knowing that there's some nurturing, some love, some femininity support for you. And then therefore then it builds.
Yeah, because this is the permissioning thing, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
we're like as a free will planet. If you don't ask, you can't receive. So to your point, right, when you want that protection, you call in Athena, you are permissioning that
Yes.
protection to come forward to protect you. In the same way we can, like I quite often tune into the likes of Merlin as a consciousness,
Right.
or Thoth the Atlantean because of the work we've done, on that Avalon series. And, they, to me, that's important. And Yeshua as well. But also, Mary Magdalene now, right? It's just, but permissioning it to open, to just see
Right.
what will come in and staying open. And again, from the heart, it's got to be from the heart.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And another thing I just want to reiterate, as I do, when you call in these energies, you're not opening yourself up for this energy to infiltrate your aura or your body. What you're doing is you're calling it in a way that communicates with your higher self. And actually, they stay outside your aura to protect you and to be a guide. So, it's not something to panic about or think that this is going to come and be a walk-in. That's not what it is. It's accessing that energy of protection.
Yeah.
And to be able to name it is very powerful, because now the universe knows what you're asking for.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And the walk-in side of things is always, there's nothing sinister about walk-ins on the basis that it is always done with as a soul agreement.
Yes,
One to step out and one to step in, but certainly avoiding the possession type of thing, whereby when you're just inviting in unknown energies, then that is where that's where the protection is required, right?
exactly. So it's there for us if we want to use it. So like I said, for you women out there, look up Hypatia. There's really a good, she's a very inspiring, um, I guess, avatar for the goddess.
Excellent, excellent. I wonder when Isis does return here by 2050, whether, because I know that at the same time they said that like there will be many acolytes of Isis will return exactly at the same time to be with her again. And I wonder if an incarnation of Mary Magdalene and Mary Anna might be amongst them, right? Quite feasible. So
Yeah.
along with many more. But anyway, okay. So I think it must be time now to go to our last section.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's do it. So to lead us into Jolé's guided meditation slash visualization, we have none other than Jesus himself from the book Jesus, My Autobiography. Again, we had started at the beginning, and this is right towards the end of the book, so we're kind of bookending the show with that. And then Jolé will work her magic. So bear with me a second.
The love revolution is inevitable because you are all tired of the wars, tired of the poverty, and tired of the destruction of your beautiful, glorious planet. This material is incredibly important because the untruths that hide in the mind keep you small. The untruths that hide in the mind keep you limited and attacking, fearful and judgmental. These are not pleasant experiences. They cause profound suffering in the individual, and they cause cultural degradation and poverty in the greater meeting of your physical structures, your populations. This is going to be a community process. It is going to be a collaborative process. It is going to be a process of unity consciousness. It is not going to be a process of individual exploitation or flamboyance. It is going to be a group project, and the group will form as the vibration of this work seeps into the minds of those beings who are ready. If you are ready, if you have had this feeling that you are fortunate and have skills and talents and abundance that can be employed in the transformation of the world, but you do not know how to do it, step up to the plate and come into this group. Come into this amazing opportunity for assistance. This is how the world is going to function once the love revolution has happened. There is a separation mentality that must be overridden. You have all been taught to do what is best for you, to fear sharing with others, and to fear offering your assistance to others because they might take advantage of you. Do not worry about this. If you have abundance and desire in combination, or if you have a skill and desire in combination, then nothing will ever be taken away from you because you are coming to the creative process with love and an extension of that which you are. That is the purpose of your life, to extend that which you are with love to those fellow beings on your plane at this time. They are not separate from you. That is our closing comment. We are bringing in much information, and there are going to be many, many opportunities for communal expression of love. You look around in your world and you see hoarding, battles, judgment, and scarcity. Why? Because you are all ensconced in separation mentality, afraid of being taken advantage of or used. You must use yourself to bring about the world that you want to experience, to bring about that which is good, to bring about that which is abundant, and to bring about that which you all desire. You must understand your conditioned mind. As we bring more and more information through, these blocks to your wonderful magnificence, your power, your influence, and your creative dominance, for you are the greatest creators, will all become clearer, and you will all be given the information that you need on your journey as you clarify yourselves. You must clarify the mind of its untruths, and you must focus on love, even when you do not have it in front of you. You may love many, many things, you may love many, many ideas, and you may love many, many creations in the mind that do not yet exist, and that is what you must focus on. Focus on that which you seek, that which you desire, and that which you wish to experience, and this will then manifest in front of you because you are the creative force behind this universe. You are the mind that makes your experience, and you are the mind that can change your experience.
Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest as you visualize yourself grounding your energy with the grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, connected to your first chakra of a natural earth element that resonates with you. Is it a tree trunk, a tunnel of water, a beam of light, a cave, a crystal, whatever it is? See this moving through Mother Earth and rooting itself into her core as you simultaneously pull your aura in to be 1.5 feet around you, our higher self above us at a comfortable distance above our crown, standing at the power position, and our astral body snapped in, fitting inside of our body like a hand fits inside of a glove, as we absorb all of the information and knowledge that it received while we were sleeping. As you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, visualize the bottoms of our feet opening like the lens of a camera, calling in 15% earth energy of a color that resonates with you. Seeing it, feeling it, or hearing it pool in the bottoms of your feet. Begin to travel up the side channels of your legs. And this signals the crown to open like the lens of a camera. And the Creator, the Divine, knows 85% cosmic gold life force energy comes cascading down from the heavens, raining down on your higher self and moving down into your crown. Feel and observe as this golden life force liquid, divine, golden, is absorbed by your gray matter, by your cranium. We're going to focus in on cleaning out the center of our head, the pineal gland. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow for that earth energy to come up the side channels of our legs and do a U-turn and go down the grounding cord. But that essence, that 15% that's pooling in the bottoms of the feet, begins to move up. However, we let that do what it does as we focus in on the center of our head. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and we're going to visualize our brow chakra opening like the lens of a camera. And automatically to the right and to the left of us, 5 feet outside our aura, are roses, beautiful roses representing transmuting negative energy into positive energy. They are spiritual trash bags. So you're going to clean out the center of your head, all of the people, all of the places, all of the things, past lives, negative thoughts, limiting beliefs. And it doesn't matter what, just send it out. Nothing to be in the center of your head except for you and a comfortable place to sit. So allow for this golden 85% cosmic essence from the divine to just get into those neurotransmitters and those synapses, moving through the prefrontal cortex, the limbic system, the cerebrum, the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata, but we're going to focus in on the right and the left hemisphere. Because as that gold light begins to fill up the right side, moving out anything that no longer serves, disintegrating it, turning it into positive life force energy, extending the telomeres, reprogramming our DNA as we move over into that left side, easing up on the anger, the judgment, the labeling, as that becomes drowned out by the love, forgiveness, the compassion, and the focusing in on your purpose, our purpose, and our lives. As this essence, this golden essence, fills up both hemispheres of our brain, and it moves into the center of our head, and anything left inside is going to be moved and resolved and dissolved into the things that support and open up the portal from the center of the head to the heart, paved with gold, as this essence rushes down like waves, opening up that portal to the heart. As that corpus callosum, which is that area between the right and the left hemisphere that separate them, are brought together by the center of the head. See it. Work it out. Allow for that golden life force energy to disintegrate all those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs, as those roses outside your aura layer are still taking in anything that no longer serves and anything you're ready to let go of and release. As that golden sun is being created above your head, above your higher self, above our higher self, in that golden, cascading, divine life force energy, as it's calling all of your energy back, and not just from this lifetime, from all lifetimes, all parallel lives, all planes and all levels, resolving and dissolving the negative, allowing for you to take in the lesson, letting go of the triggers and the charges, as this essence, this gold light begins to move through your body, integrating with that earth energy, cleaning out each and every one of your chakras as it sprouts out of your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layer. And that golden sun above your higher self, above your crown, is calling back our energy well as the goddess energy. So once our energy comes back, the goddess then begins to bring in that energy for us, solidifying the unconditional love and unspeakable beauty that we are made of, the limitlessness that makes up our being. So as this essence begins to move through your body, filling you up, sprouting out of your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layers, see all these beautiful colors of joy and amusement surrounding you. See the goddess come in and embrace you as she brings you into her bosom and lets you know that she is here for you and you are her and she is you. As the anger, the violence, the aggression, the emotional unavailability resolves and dissolves itself to be replaced with love, compassion, forgiveness, support, and nurturing for self. And there's so much that we share and we connect from a heart-centered space to the beauty of humanity, to all of the good that resides within Mother Earth is what we resonate with and we celebrate in this moment. As our pineal has been decalcified and all that negative energy has been sent to Mother Earth to be recycled into positive creative life force energy for anyone to use. So as you take a deep breath in and exhale, you're going to give those roses outside your aura layer 5 feet to the right and to the left, an energetic push. And when you feel they're far enough away, you're going to see them blow up, turn into Ferks, creative life force energy for anyone to use as that golden sun comes down in that river of divine gold light through your higher self, as your higher self's just, ooh, nice shower, taking it in as it moves down into your crown, filling up the center of your head, expanding out into all parts of your brain, moving down your spine, lighting up each vertebra, and moving into that heart chakra and filling it up with so much love that the double doors of your heart open, sending out love into your environment as that love sprouts out of your hand chakras, filling up your aura layer, fortifying the love as it moves down into your core, down your grounding cord, down into your legs, your knees, your feet, and moving out into your aura layer. Recalibrating you, realigning you with your most loving and highest good as you are connected, rooted, and grounded into Mother Earth and connected to that divine life force energy as this beam of loving light moves down through you, through your higher self, your crown, all the way down your chakras, your grounding cord, as you just stay in alignment. And that goddess, know that she is there for you and she is in you. So as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, all parts of you have come into alignment and you are whole. So from a heart-centered space, you're gonna just pour that love on your inner child and just bring it all together. And just let that love expand throughout your body. Because when the masculine and the feminine are integrated, balanced, and aligned, they create joy and love and playfulness in your life. and then you live a functional life of wellness. As you breathe this in and you exhale it out, because it's all around you. And from now on, that's all that exists for you and for us. So as you take a deep breath in and exhale, visualize yourself at your zenith, whole and complete, well, strong, standing in your expansive, masculine and feminine energy, leading with playfulness, joy, and love. And from this divine space, we breathe with the rhythm of our body as we simultaneously close our feet, our hands, our heart, and our crown chakras like the lens of a camera. We allow for all of that goodness to settle in, and we open our eyes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jolé.
Yes.
Don't know about everybody else, but my corpus callosum now highly activated along with many other of those parts as well.
I hope so. I got Joy spoke to me about it, and then Karina, hi to both of you, so much love, about the pineal gland. And so I wanted to do a pineal gland healing because, it's when it comes up, that means it needs to be healed. Another thing I'd like to lay on the table about the pineal is for those of you that feel like I need more. If you have an amethyst crystal, go out in the sun and you put it on your third eye. You're only going to be able to last for a few seconds, maybe minutes, because it's going to start to do its thing. That will also purify your pineal gland. With anything, it's a practice. It takes consistency. Please be gentle with yourself. When you start to feel uncomfortable, that means it's time to stop.
Mm, I like that. I was going
Okay?
to say I've got amethyst over there, but it's a really big chunk, and that might
Yeah.
hurt my head for a while. Stop bashing myself on the head with that. But no, that's brilliant, and that's this is all such value because you think about the fact that to become heart based, but we have to be connected so that, as you say, it's the connection between the two, right? It's the pineal
Right.
gland connected to the heart, and again, from what I recall from the drum below Melchizedek's teachings, that us left brainers have to travel from left brain to right brain first to
Yeah.
go into the pineal and then down into the heart. That is the way to do it. So, yeah. That's wonderful. Thank you, Jolé.
Yeah. Thank you guys. This is wonderful. I'm so glad and thankful for this outlet. I'm glad that I was blessed because there's so many of us light workers that have no idea that we're light workers and we're out there going crazy. So I'm so grateful to be able to have found this gift. And if you know people that are struggling, 9 chances out of 10, there's a spiritual component to their life that they are missing.
Yes, yes. And to that point, we've got something else coming up next week. We're not going to announce anything on it yet, but Jolé and I have been working on this, and we've been
Yeah.
tapping into some of our folks around that we've been doing some work with recently as well, just to try and work out what to do and how. And I think this could be quite powerful. So,
Yeah.
looking forward to being able
Exciting.
to give more information on that next week. And apart from that, I suppose we go into the wrap up mode now, which again, mention again about the donation thing is like important for us, but again, only for those that feel so inclined and can afford it because, we understand the nature of the
Yeah.
economy out there right now. But that donation link is below. And please, more importantly still, where you know other people that would value this material, this content, share it with them.
Yes.
Just give it a go because I think that's the way to get the word out because it's difficult to find Elevated Planet through YouTube under normal circumstances. We don't, we're not up there on the algorithms for whatever reason. So whatever we can do to share it is fantastic. And the other thing I wanted to mention again, we will be putting a newsletter out tomorrow with the edited version of this show, which will have some new imagery on it and just sort of tidy up the little intersection pieces that we have. So please do check that out. If anybody wants to go on the distribution list, drop me an email to johndrew@elevatedplanet.life is the best way to do it. So, and whatever messages you've got, please do send us any messages that you care to, and I guarantee you, Jolé and I will be back. And if anybody does want a reading through Jolé as well, and because she does fantastic readings, that's why we're working together today. Because over 6 years ago, I had my first reading, and then she didn't take on the restraint. She didn't take out the restraining order, and
You
I
say
am
that
still.
all the time.
I know, but it's true.
So grateful. I mean, if it wasn't for you, I would not be able to, unpack my purpose. And so I'm so grateful because, another thing when you're an empath and you're sensitive, you take on a lot, and it can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. So to have somebody that could say, hey, let me help you execute. Oh my God, it's such a blessing. And thank you to the community for that as well, because they're a part of that.
For sure. And I honestly believe that, you and I doing this work together, it's not our first time we've done this, right? Just
Yeah,
the first time in this lifetime. But
right.
I do also feel connections with so many of our community as well. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. We're just at this early stages of building something up that we're going to go out and expand. And as a team, we'll go out there and expand and really step into our power. And, one of those points made by Jesus in that last section there, pre-meditation, was you are the creative force behind the universe. That
Hmm.
is what we're tapping into when we bring you our thing next week, which we have to talk to you about, because we are the creative force behind the universe. It's just that we hadn't realized it.
Right.
Time to step into that power.
One of the sleeping giants, right? Let's
Yes.
wake up.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And thank you to the community, and thank you to Kelly and Kathy for your comments. I know that they value very much the meditation there, Jolé, as indeed do I.
Thank
So
you.
we will be separating that meditation out again, and that will be on our channel separately again tomorrow as well. So for those who just want to go in and tap into the meditation, we'll always make sure that is available to you. And I think that's about it, right?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for those who watch the recording. And we look forward to seeing you again in a few days' time.